Hello. We are back again, man. I took a little time off, but I am back in the seat again, and happy to come to you once again and talk about a few things going on in the world. It's almost football season now. Football season, that's one of my favorite times of the year. I don't know about you guys, but I love it. I love me some football. And like I said, it's almost football season, so things are getting ready to get kicked off. I've loved football from every level, from pee-wee to junior high to high school, college, and of course the professional ranks. It seems like these days, though, that the college and professional ranks about the same thing. All this NIL money, like where was all this when I was coming up, when we was in high school, calling ourselves doing our thing? And they was talking about it way back then. That's 30, 40 years ago when they were talking about it. And fast forward almost 50 years, and these young men out here getting paid. I'm happy to see it. You know, there's a lot of haters out there. But, you know, times evolve and we move on. And, you know, what was in our day was in our day, and what's going on now is going on now. We do have to figure out a way to regulate it in some way so things don't get out of hand. But it's exciting and an exciting time to be a young man and playing football. If you love the game like I do, fantasy football is sure to draw you in, though. I don't know how many of you are aware of fantasy football or have played fantasy football, but if you love the game of football and you really can't get out there and do it no more, because our bodies, that window has passed us, we can still enjoy it either from watching it on TV, and then you can participate from a fantasy football perspective. As with most things I engage with, I try to find the good in it, right? And fantasy football is very similar to life. You have your ups and your downs. You have your times when you're joyous. You have your times when you're down in the dumps. You're trying to figure out what happened. You have people that join the league. You have people that leave. It's just like life. All of these things happen in life where we have our successful moments, we have our down moments, we have people that may come into our lives for a season, and then just as soon as they came, they leave. It all happens in the fantasy football space. So I've been involved in fantasy football for about 4 years now, and I've been the commissioner of the league for at least all of those years that we've been involved. I've won some championships in some of the leagues that I participated in. We have free leagues, and we have leagues where you provide a little bit of a donation, and then, you know, there's some prizes and things at the end. And we do have a spot open. You know, we have a 12-man league, and we had one person retire this year. So there is an open spot in our pay league. If some of you out there, armchair quarterbacks, armchair coaches, and you want to pit your football skills up against the league and, put together a team, hit me up, text me, inbox me, let me know if you want to participate. We'd love to have you come and join us. So our team has evolved. It started out just with a close-knit group of homeboys getting together, and it was just a way for us to engage. You know, obviously we don't see each other every day. We don't talk to each other every week like we used to do when we were very young and coming out of high school or college or what have you. But we still got love for one another, and fantasy football was a way to bring us all together. We communicate. We got a chat line. We talk to each other every day, touch bases, in some way, form, or fashion, via text, the chat line, conversation around the fantasy football space. And in doing that, it has really developed to even a tighter relationship, to where we plan things, we get together, we meet up for different events, because our dialogue around this whole fantasy thing has really broadened our relationship in other areas. So it's been really, really satisfying to be a part of the league. I was told a long time ago, though, by my high school coach, if you give up now, you'll be giving up the rest of your life. So a lot of times in fantasy football, you have those moments that you become so discouraged because the players just won't do like you want them to. You like, hey, on paper you should be able to do X, Y, Z, but everything on paper does not translate into actuality. And isn't that just the way of life? Sometimes the way things are supposed to work, the way things are drawn up on paper, sometimes they just don't go that way. So that's what makes this game so enriching. You put all your skill and you put quite a bit of time into preparation, and yeah, you may have that cash prize waiting at the end, and everybody's trying to get it, and you're really enjoying the journey all along the way. And sometimes you win it, but there's really no losers in this, because the true gain in all of this is that you're able to spend time with friends that you've had for a lifetime, since we were little boys, and at 3 and 4, 5, 6 years old, first grade through 12th grade, and you're able to spend time with them and talk and laugh, and that in itself is priceless, right? A couple $1,000 at the end would be nice, but it certainly is priceless when it comes to the relationship building and camaraderie that you're developing all throughout the football season with folks that really mean a lot to you. So first verse of the day, 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 24. Do you not know that in a race all runners run, but only one receives the prize? So in that you may obtain it. So run that you may obtain it. Let me read that one more time. 1 Corinthians 9:24. Do you not know that in a race all runners run, but only one wins the prize? So run that you may obtain it. So in the word it says one receives the prize. That would be first prize. If you're running a race and you finish first, you win first prize. There are many prizes out there, though. There's second, third, fourth, even last. But even to finish last, you gotta, run the race. If you're gonna finish last, you still can't quit, because if you quit, it's gonna say DNF, did not finish. But if you run the whole race, you might come in last place, but last place, at least you did finish, right? So, like I say, you got to stay in the game, if you want to succeed. You got to stay in the game if you want to finish. We talk about football and all these fun things that we do, but life is real, right? It's great to be able to play a game and everything, but life is real, and you can't give up on life. You can't give up on the challenges that you're faced with. You gotta finish it and see it all the way to the end. Our next verse, Ecclesiastes 9:11. Again, I saw that under the sun, the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor bread to the wise, nor riches to the intelligent, nor favor to those with knowledge, but time and chance happen to them all. My God, in his word, the Lord says time and chance happens to them all. So irregardless of where you start, we all at the starting line somewhere. And irregardless of how you start or what the outlook might, seem, how it may look, you may be up against the fastest man that you've ever known. You may be up against the strongest opponent you've ever known. And on paper, it may look like you're going to lose. But the Lord's word says chance happens to them all. This fastest man may start off running and catch a cramp or pull a hamstring, and you win the race. But you never know if you don't go and get up there to the starting line. So you got to start the race. The strong man, he might be able to bench more than you, and you strawny, and you're going to get up there and bench against him. And on paper, it just don't look good. But anything could happen. You know what I'm saying? And he may not even be able to bench. He may wind up DNF, did not finish. And just by the fact that you stepped up to the plate to take your chance, it might happen for you. And that's how it is in the game of life. That's how it is in fantasy football. You got to put your team on the field. You got to have a quarterback, running backs, wide receivers, a tight end, a flex position, a defense, and a kicker. If you fail to put any of them into the game, you're playing a game of chance, because you don't know what could happen. On paper, you may be projected to lose, but simply by fielding your team, you could earn the victory. My friend, I had a great friend that said something that was really profound, and he didn't say it to me directly, but he said it out in his social media posts, and it really had a great impact on me. It was similar to the verse that I read, and I'll read that verse one more time. Ecclesiastes 9:11. Again, I saw that under the sun, the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor bread to the wise, nor riches to the intelligent, nor favor to those with knowledge, but time and chance happen to them all. So again, no matter how fast you are, how strong you are, how intelligent you think you might be, or how much knowledge you might have, it's still a chance. It's still a chance game. Chance happens to them all. It may be in your favor to be wise. It may be in your favor to be intelligent, but that doesn't mean you always gonna win. There are gonna be some losses in there sometime, and that win on that particular moment may go to the least likely person to do it, but just by the sheer fact that they are there, they are in the race, it could come to them. You know what I'm saying? And we have to understand that in our day-to-day lives. So in my friend's post on his social media, he said, people wander in darkness seeking light, failing to realize that the light is in the heart of darkness. It is not what you earn, but what you save that will make us rich. It's not what you read, but what you remember that makes us learn. I'll read that one more time. People wander in darkness seeking light, failing to realize that the light is in the heart of darkness. It is not what you earn, but what we save that will make us rich. It is not what we read, but what we remember that will make us learn. So, for every action, there's a reaction, and there you have to make a start. You have to put yourself out there. You have to step out on faith, and you have to be wise. All of these things that we internalize, what we read, what we put into our spirit, and hopefully you're putting some of the word into your spirit. Those things, you have to use it to make great decisions. You have to use it to your benefit. Just because you have it doesn't mean that it's going to materialize into anything. You have to be intentional and take a moment, think, be wise, and let God guide your steps, and you can move forward. It's not a guarantee. In every instance, things are going to work out for you or work out in your favor, but in most instances, it will. God says there's chance in everything, and you just got to be leaning on Him and trusting in Him that it's going to work out for you. But we also have to remember that whatever happens, God allowed it to happen, and there's some message, some learning in that somewhere down the line. So I thank my friend for that, because it really made me think and was very insightful. Our last verse of the day, Matthew 19:30. But many who are first will be last, and the last will be first. I thought that was very fitting as I'm talking about fantasy football, because obviously we had, some of the folks that won last year, they feeling themselves. Like I said, I've won before. I've been a champion of the league, and the next year I think I finished third, and then last year I finished like 7th or 8th. And so no matter what degree of skill set that you have, in this whole fantasy football arena, and the same thing in life, no matter what your skill set is in life, it's not guaranteed you're going to finish on top. You're prepared, you're knowledgeable, you have intellect about a lot of the different things that you do, and you still could not finish on top. And as long as you are aware of that, then you have power. If you are aware of that, you have power. And knowing that information is a great benefit to you, because it keeps you humble. You don't be out there bragging this, that, and the other, because you know what can happen. When you be bragging, and sometimes you be trying to fake out the other man, and you just be talking or whatever. But at the end of the day, we don't know what tomorrow holds. And yes, go ahead and put your best foot forward, but you can put your best foot forward without boasting. And obviously, in God's word, He talks against boasting anyway. So yeah, the first will be last, and the last will be first. So you better pace yourself, my friends. I don't care what it is. If it's for you, it's for you. So you don't really have to boast about it. You don't have to brag about it. If it's going to happen and it's in God's will for you, it's going to happen for you. So with that, my friends, we're going to go out and we're going to walk today. And today our topic is the game of life. Won't He do it? Yes, He will. Let's go walk. We're back. Back on the driveway. As my friend would say, our therapy session. Today, I wanted to talk to you a little bit, introduction. We're getting close to football season, and sometimes we talk about games and different things, and looking forward to the football season kicking off. And so I thought it might be fitting to this week to talk about the game of life. The game of life. All right. So the game of life. What is it all about, man? Well, the game of life, it's truly a game, right? In the game of life, we have to know, in any game, let's just start there. In any game, you got to know the objectives of the game. Don't you hate it when somebody try to explain how to do something, and all they do is say, oh, all you got to do is this. You just do this right here, and then do this. And you be like, ho. If anybody starts off trying to explain something like that to you, you need to find somebody else to give you the explanation. For me, and this is just one of my general rules, I need to Technology, man. Technology. Let's get it together. I promise you I ain't going to be long today. I started earlier this morning and had to stop in the middle of my videoing. But I do want to come on and finish this up. So we started our talk today about the game of life and, what the whole game of life is all about. And we started talking about how we compare life to a game, and life is a game, and how this coincides is that we're about to get into football season, but obviously there's games and stuff going on all the time, right? Whether it's football, basketball, baseball, we all have our favorite, but at the end of the day, life is also a game. It's all about perspective and really the objectives and different things that we have. We can't really be effective or successful in our games, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, whatever it is, unless we know the instruction. We need to know what our objectives are and what it is that we're supposed to do. Like if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, how can you be effective in winning the game or performing at your best in the game? We have to know what the objective of the game is. I started earlier this morning with an example in reference to football. So in football, the objective, why am I having a problem with that word? Objective is to score touchdowns, right? But there's a way that you have to go about doing that. You have to follow the rules of a game of football in order to be successful at scoring the touchdowns. And so it is in life. You have to understand the rules, understand the objectives of what you're trying to achieve in life, and then follow the rules. And hopefully you arrive at a successful outcome. That is what we have to do if we want to be successful and prosper in this life. And how this coincides is that we're about to get into football season, but obviously there's games and stuff going on all the time, right? Whether it's football, basketball, baseball, we all have our favorite. But what about fishing? What about fishing, man, bro? Super Salt Plus Ultra Vibe Speed 1 June bug. It's August, but we're working with that June bug color right there. You see it, you see it. Know you're fishing with it, Milbo, but is you catching? What we're doing, Milbo? Man, we about to get on some of them shell crackers. What you know about that right there? What? Little fishing grit. You know how we do it. Yeah, you know how it is, you know. Get out there in the morning and, you want that sausage and bacon all the time. So when you fish like I do and catch fish, shell cracker, bluegill, crappie, bass, you always gotta freeze them full. So we're gonna knock out and do us a little fish fry this morning, a few pieces with a few grits, and enjoy some fish. God is good. if we don't play the game of life right, you know, we'll wind up losing, right? Just like you do in any other game that you play. If you don't follow the rules, you get a penalty. For instance, in football, if you hold somebody, that puts you back, right? Like, we don't care what the rules are if you don't know what the objective is. What difference does it make what the rules are if you don't know what the objective is? So you have to know what the objective is, and then the rules start to make sense. If I know that the objective is to score touchdowns, then I know I can't hold anybody or create pass interference on anybody, because that'll get me a penalty. And that'll either put me farther away from the goal by getting the penalty, or put somebody else closer to the goal by getting a penalty. But if my objective is to win, I have to follow the rules. What we have to realize is that rules and tips are different things. Rules are associated with a penalty. If you do something wrong, break a rule, you're going to get a penalty. Tips, on the other hand, a tip is something you can use to your advantage. And let's just say you break a tip, or you don't use a tip. You don't get a penalty for it. You just lose your advantage. You know what I'm saying? Like, if, for instance, you studied some film or what have you, and you know the other team's gonna hand the ball off and they're coming through this hole, then that's a tip. You can be focused on that hole, and when they come that way, you hit them, because you already know that's where they're coming. You don't get no penalty for that. It's a tip through your study that works in your behalf. Now, if you jump off sides, you hit the hole before they hike the ball, yeah, that's a penalty. That's gonna cost you. So life is full of all of these different types of tips, right? We all have different gifts in this life, and a lot of times we wonder sometimes what our purpose is, right, in life. You know, and we talking about the game of life today, and a lot of times people just don't know what to do or how to do, and they just become lost in the game of life. And a lot of times the game of life and learning our purpose and what it is that we're supposed to do in this world, it starts when we're young. And that's why it's important to have good people in your life. You know, whether it's a parent or an older brother or sister, or someone in the neighborhood, a teacher, coach. All of these things are benefits and blessings to us, because it helps us as individuals learn what we are good at, learn what brings us joy. You know, if you start too late in life understanding what your gifts are in this world, then you may be late to the game in understanding what your purpose is in this life, because you got started late. Your focus wasn't on that. You didn't have anybody in your life to try to direct you. A lot of times you're not really trying to direct somebody on what their purpose is, but you're at minimum asking them, right? You're observing them. You're putting them in different situations. Like, for instance, if you're a boy dad, you got sons, you know, you might want your son to play football, you know, or basketball, or run track, or whatever. And so you start them off early in those different things. And it's not that it's going to make you or break you if your son is good in sports or not. But you're giving him an outlet. You're giving him exposure to different things, and you're observing. You may come to find that your son sucks in football. He ain't gonna be no quarterback. He don't like to get hit. He don't want to go to practice. All right, so football or sports may not be his thing. Same thing for young ladies. If you a girl dad like myself, you know, you still have to enrich your children's life, right? So, you know, yeah, and ballet and dance, gym, gymnastics, all these different things. And we sit back and we observe. Are they good? Are they eloquent? Are they very light on their feet? And also, when they're involved in these things, other things develop, right? How well do they take direction? How well do they interact with other people? Do they get along with the other girls in the class? Are they respectful? Do they take initiative and get their gym clothes and stuff together? Or you don't have to tell them what time it is. They already excited about going to their class. These are all things that we observe all along the way when our children are growing up. Same things that we went through as kids. A lot of things we did when we are children help determine and guide us into things that we want to do in life. And thank God for that, because you find out about yourself. Not only do other people observe and find out about you, but you find out about yourself. And so for people that they already got it figured out, they already know what they want to be in life, they already know what brings them joy, it's a plus, because everybody don't have that in their life. Everybody didn't have exposure. Everybody maybe didn't have the greatest of parents, but they had somebody, you know what I mean? And count it all joy if you knew from an early age what you wanted to do, and you're able to walk into that space, right? When you finished high school, you went on to college, you already knew what you wanted to do with your career. So you majored in a certain thing, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes you have to switch it up. You know, it ain't what you thought it was gonna be, but that's the game of life. You playing the game of life. Sometimes it can throw you a curveball, but you have to figure out how to work your way around it. Life is not really hard as long as you understand what the objective is, right? And like the examples that I gave with football, you know what the objective is, then you better understand what the rules are. Now, sometimes we can get confused because, you know, obviously we have free will as individuals, right? God gives us free will to decide what we want to do. And with that free will, we can choose what we want to do and change our objectives and different things. And a lot of times people feel like their objective is to make a lot of money, or their objective
is to obtain a lot of toys. They want cars, they want houses, they want property. They want to be able to invest. They want to travel. They want to do a whole lots of different things. But that's our choice. You know what I'm saying? And we choose those sometimes as our objectives. And sometimes we feel like those are the things that are going to make us happy. But I'm here to tell you that material things won't necessarily make you happy. It may, in your estimation, make your life a little bit easier, you know, because you feel like if something break down, go get a new one, you know. You need a new hot water heater, go get one. You tired of driving the same old car, go get a new one. And a lot of times money and resources can do that for you, but money can't buy your love. You know, you can have all that. You can have the most beautiful woman or beautiful man, and if the money run out, they still gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? You know, God is our objective. God should be our objective. Some people just want to compete, but I want to win. So whatever I do it as if I'm doing it unto the Lord. And it says it in His Bible, in the Word. You know, do it as if you're doing unto the Lord. And a lot of people want to know what the secret to life is. And God's Word, it talks about King Solomon. And King Solomon was a rich man. He had everything at his disposal. And he wanted to know what was the meaning of life. That was what he wanted to know. And at the end of his journey, and a lot of times this is true for many of us, we don't really find that we spend our whole life searching for the meaning of life, or trying to win the game of life and not really knowing what the game of life is. And as I mentioned before, in any game, you got to know what the objective is, or else you'll be playing toward the wrong conclusion, or you'll be playing a losing game. So in God's Word, He tells us what the objective is. The objective is to fear God and obey His principles. That's what the objective of life is. So when you do things, we learn who we are as people. Now we all have gifts, right? My gift is going to be different than your gift, but ultimately we are all working toward the same objective. We're all trying to achieve, and we're all should be trying to obey God and His commands and fear Him. And when I say fear, I'm saying honor and respect God and trust that His Word is true. You trust that God's Word is true and you uphold His principles, then you understand the meaning of life. And if you take God everywhere you go, and ultimately you promote God in every facet of your life, I don't care if you're an attorney, you got to take God with you. You got to do the right thing. I don't care if you work in corporate America. You can't turn a blind eye to certain things. You got to uphold what's right. I don't care if you playing sports or whatever it is. You got to follow the rules. and take God with you. You know what I'm saying? If you do that, then you're fulfilling the meaning of life. God is so good to us, people, and it's not very hard for us to figure out and or understand what it is in this life that needs to be done. We just got to follow the golden rule, follow God's rule and his commands. If we do that, everything else will be revealed to us. So you ask me, what is the key to life? What is the meaning of life? The game of life and what it means? It means understanding God, understanding and following his commands, fearing him, and making it a central part of your life. And all other things will be added onto you. I sure appreciate y'all for walking with me today. Won't he do it? Yes, he will. God bless. Man, y'all frying fish or got something on the grill? I'll be through there. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Yes. Yes, he will. God bless.